If anybody is recording, please let us know now. Thank you. And if not, we're gonna continue on. So the first thing I want to say for the chairperson's statement is I really appreciate all the new commissioners that took the initiative to join the commission. And also, I definitely want to say that there's a lot of work that we still need to do, because I do want to put it in the forefront that the Human Rights Awards ceremony is happening in December, and we have a lot of planning to do about that. So we'll talk about that further down on the agenda. So now we'll just go ahead go into the roll call of commissioners. Matt, you want to do that?
Sure. Empress,
Present.
Kathleen,
Present.
Nate. Okay, and then I believe that's our commissioners that are present.
Okay, thank you, Matt. Notification of any guests or visitors present. Amanda, you want to?
Hi, everybody. I'm Amanda Brown. I'm here tonight. I came to the last meeting and I'm here to share about an event on Saturday, and hopes that maybe you guys can join us, and it should be a good event.
Thank you so much, Amanda. Next.
I can go. I'm Megan Cloutier. I'm a sergeant with Greenfield Police Department liaison for the department.
Thank you, Megan. And I just want to say I'm so happy that you're here. And this is definitely going to be would you actually be our liaison for the HRC?
So I'm appointed by the department, I believe. So I think that's still in effect. I'm not entirely sure how long that lasts.
Okay, awesome. Thank you so much for being here. Next.
No problem. Thank you.
Erin, I see you.
Hi, I'm Erin Anhol. I'm Chief of Staff for the City of Greenfield.
Thank you so much, Erin, for being here. Anybody else want to introduce yourself? Okay, so we're just going to move on. I want to take this opportunity right now to welcome our new commissioners. Nate, do you want to tell us a little bit about yourself and what brought you to the Greenfield Human Rights Commission?
Hello. Quinn Mass is one of my dearest friends. We did band together last year, and he participated in the Human Rights Commission. And he asked me, and I said, sure. And I just want to help our community in many ways. I do a lot of community activities through so many other things, and just want to make this city feel like home to other people like me. So.
Thank you so much, Nate. And we all appreciate and respect Quinn here, because Quinn actually contributed a lot. And I know you will too. So thank you so much for joining us. Gary, I see you're here. Do you want to tell us a little bit about who you are?
You're muted, Gary. Do you have your mic selected? It says you're unmuted. Make sure where your mic is, click that arrow, make sure you select the right microphone. It happens to me sometimes too.
Okay. All right. Thank you, Gary. Kim, do you want to introduce yourself?
Sure. I'll speak for Gary, myself, and Anne Marie, who are on the call. And we are from a group who want to talk to the committee about rising anti-Semitism in the area and the mayor's commitment to help support the Jewish community in the city.
Okay, thank you so much, Kim. I appreciate that. So next on the agenda is updates from the mayor's office. Matt?
I had none listed, so we can move on.
Okay, do you have a new haircut?
That is true. Yeah, I didn't know if that was important enough for an update, but
That is an update. Yeah. I definitely like it. We're gonna move on to number 7. As far as open positions to be filled by the end of 2024, this is my hope. This is my wish that we can get these positions filled. I know you guys have heard me mention this before, but we definitely need a co-chair. I need somebody to take that position. So when my term is over, they would be next in line, to be chair. And not only that, but it's a great, support for me to have, so that we could get a lot of work done. So if anybody is interested, once again, please submit, your information to me, and me and Matt will follow up, and we could put it between the full, up for the full body vote and vote you in. Next, we also have 3 subcommittees. That's the Outreach and Educational Support Committee, Community Events Subcommittee, and the Grievances Committee. Currently, there is nobody sitting on any of these subcommittees, but I do understand that we have been in transition for a while, and we have a lot of new commissioners. So please don't be shy. You can step up if you want to sit on 2 different subcommittees. That's also fine. So I just want to put that out there for you guys. And we also need a clerk. Matt, hi Packy, how are you?
Well, fine. I apologize for coming in late. I love in-person meetings, so I went over to the city hall for the in-person meeting. And I just found out it wasn't there, so here I am. Sorry I'm
Yeah.
late.
yeah, we were unfortunately impacted by the holiday this month because the second Monday it fell on the holiday, so that's why we were in the Zoom.
Yeah.
But thank you for being here,
sorry.
Packy.
Thank you.
I'll mark you as a present.
Sure.
Thank you, Matt. And
I
thank
don't
you,
know
Packy.
what's going on with my Zoom, but it won't let me do video or raise my hand. So I apologize. I have no idea why it's not letting me FaceTime. I'd have to hang up and call back in. So I didn't want to do that. But I would be happy to chair the event committee, Empress, if you want me to.
Yes, Kathleen, I'm putting you down right now. So we have Kathleen who would like to work on the community events subcommittee.
I can do the outreach of education support subcommittee as well.
Okay, we have Nate for outreach and educational support. And like I said, we still have grievances. So grievances is really important. So if somebody was to file a grievance with the Human Rights Commission, these individuals would actually be actively involved in an investigation, and follow the charter of the city of Greenfield and present that information back with a finding after the 30 days. We could definitely get more into it, but that subcommittee is also open, and you can serve on more than one subcommittee. But for the outreach and educational services, you know, I kind of always like to sit myself. So for community events, Kathleen, I will sit on that with you. And Nate for outreach and educational support, I'll also sit on that subcommittee with you as well. And I'm sorry, Kathleen?
Oh, I said wonderful.
You know, and because we could have 2 to 3, Matt, if I'm not mistaken, we could have 2 to 3 on each subcommittee, correct?
Yeah, 3 is the maximum.
Okay, all right. So we have, so therefore, under community events, the next thing that we have coming up, Nate, would be the HRC award ceremony in December. And me and you can start collaborating on that. And if somebody else wants to join that committee, please let me know, so we can start putting everything together. And the last open position that we have, I definitely want to take this time to say, Matt, we appreciate you. You know, you've done a great job being the clerk, but we do have an open position for the clerk. And clerk would basically be like Matt, okay? You'll basically be in charge of the minutes and sending those minutes out to the commission body. And yeah, so like if anybody would like to be a clerk, that position is also open. But maybe this is something we could bring up next month when we have more people here on the commission that somebody wants to take over. But right
Sounds
now,
good.
Matt has done a phenomenal job being a clerk. So thank you, Matt.
Thank you.
So now we'll move on to number 8, because I know we have a lot on the agenda to talk about, and we'll go right to Amanda Brown. And she's here to talk about the standout on the Common, October 19th, 2 to 4. You have the floor for 5 to 15 minutes.
Hi, everybody. I'm Amanda Brown. We have a standout event on Saturday from 2 to 4 in the Common. I'm hoping that you guys can join us maybe with a table, some information or something. This is really a standout. A lot of people feel it has to do with the election coming up, but a lot of people feel that their human rights, basic human rights, are being attacked in this election and that they stand to lose a lot. And I actually have a woman here. She's joined me. I don't think her microphone is working right. Leona, should say, Leona Hand there. She's actually a woman that I met recently, and she's going to say a speech and stand up about how she feels her own human rights are being affected, and she's in fear of her life and what's to come. So I think a lot of people are going to stand up on Saturday and say that. We have some speakers coming from the Governor's Council, from the Equality Department, several just residents of Greenfield are going to stand up. Residents of Massachusetts are going to stand up and talk about how this is affecting them and how they feel we are going forward from here on out. And it's just a good place for everybody to get some sides, how they both feel, everybody feels on this coming up election, and a good place for people to vote, to register to vote, and get information about Project 2025 and things that are coming up, and feel good about it. So I guess we were just hoping that maybe you guys would want to join us and be there for the human rights part of it, and maybe backing people that they do have rights and that they should feel comfortable with that.
Thank you, Amanda. So just to recap, you said that this is an event for people who's not registered to vote, could register to vote at this event?
Yes, there will be a voter registration table for people to register to vote if they haven't done so yet, or maybe need some help doing so.
Okay, so this is open for discussion.
I do think this is a good idea. I do have a question about it. How are you guys scheduling it? Like, what is there like a time frame? Like, how much time people are going to speak? Because it does say 2 to 4. It's a 2-hour. It is a little long, I think. So I just want to know like the time frame around it.
Yeah, we figured that when we first got there around 2 that we were going to do like we have some information tables. We have different information booklets and pamphlets that we'll have for people to look at. The voter registration table that people can talk to, get help with that. And we thought just like mingling and talking about how people feel and meeting other people from all over the state, because we have put this out for the state of Massachusetts for people to feel that they could come to Greenfield and be a part of this. So we're hoping from people are going to come from all over and want to, and I know in these situations from before, I've been in these situations, you get there and you feel like a movement, or you feel power, or you feel like you can speak. And we're hoping that people will get up and speak and share how this affects them. And several women and other people have come to us and said that they're really affected by the Roe versus Wade, or they're affected by certain things. They feel that their own rights are being attacked and that they want to stand up and say something in front of people. So we feel as if there will be quite a few other people that will want to stand up and say things. We have a woman that's singing the national anthem, and we figured, we'd let Tara Jacobs from the Governor's Council is going to be there. And we figured we just put people in for different speeches after, the initial mingling and information and voter registration. And then we'll do the national anthem. And then figured we would get right into speeches and give open mic for people to want to get up and speak. And then also, if you guys had a table or were there, people could go to you and ask you know, for help with something, or if they feel that they have a question for you guys with the human rights aspect of it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Now, I definitely support as far as like the tabling event. I know that if commissioners are interested in going to this event, I would really like to know so I can start printing off the brochures so that you guys would have something to pass out if we do have a group of people who would like to table at this event.
Hi, this is Pocky. I'm really sorry. I'm already committed for that time
Yes.
at something else, but I think it's good. This is a nonpartisan thing, I take it. And it's to help people who are anxious about the upcoming election. Is that it?
Yes, a lot of people are very anxious that their human rights are being attacked in this upcoming election. So yeah.
Yeah, I'm happy you're doing it, and I certainly support it. I'm not available, but carry on.
Thank you.
I'll have to wait. Unfortunately, we had a death in my family today, and I'm not sure of on the services. So as soon as I know, I can be in touch with Empress, whether I can do it or not.
Very sorry for your loss, Kathleen.
Yeah.
Thank you. It was my father, but yeah, so unfortunately, but I will, thank you. Let you know. I'm just waiting. They live in New Jersey, and I don't know when the services are yet, but Empress, if I could let you know.
Okay, definitely.
Okay.
Nate, you was gonna say something?
Yes, I will table for that event.
Okay, thank you. Thank you, Nate, for stepping up. Okay, so what's gonna happen is after this meeting, I could send out an email just to see if Robin or Jason or Brian are available as well to table with you. But me and you will definitely connect and see what we can do about getting the brochures and everything ready for Saturday. So Amanda, I do have a question for you.
Okay.
I know that this was originally set for Worcester, correct?
Yes.
Okay. And have you been receiving any kind of like negative feedback as far as protesters against the event? Are the
Online,
police going to be on site?
they are. The police are aware. We have filled out paperwork with them, and they are going to be on site and be around. So yes, and we also actually have our own kind of, call it security, I guess, but it's not really. But it's people that are just going to be walking around keeping an eye out for things. And then they all have radios them so they can contact each other. And then we've been in contact with police. They said, you see something, call us. We'll be right there. So there will be people walking around and making sure that everything goes smoothly.
Okay, thank you. And I do know that Lily actually reached out to me today, so the other day, so I'm actually going to provide the microphone.
Yeah, thank you so much. You told me. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. And yeah, is there any other discussion about this? So this is going to be the 19th from 2 to 4 on the common. And like I said, thank you, Nate, so much for stepping up, and I will definitely connect with you, and I'll reach out to some other commissioners who could not make it to the meeting today, just to see how many of us could actually be involved in that, okay? Thank you, Amanda.
Thank you so much.
Leona.
Thank you, Nate. Thank you.
You're welcome.
You're on mute.
Thank you, Matt. Next we have Gary Newcomb, and he's with the Greenfield area Jewish community concerned with anti-Semitism. Gary?
I
He
believe
seems to have,
Kim
he seems
Audette's
to have
present as
stepped away
well.
for a sec.
Is anybody here who's representing with Gary?
Yes, well,
Okay,
I
yes,
am and Anne Marie, we are both part of the group. And, oh, here comes Gary, so maybe I'll pass it back over to him. He was right on top.
hi Gary, how are you? So, you're next up on
Gary,
the
you're
agenda.
muted.
Gary, you was next up on the agenda and I already did an introduction. So if you want, you could definitely step in and start talking, but you're on mute.
How about now?
You're coming in very clear. Thank
Okay, thank you. All right, we're primary here for one purpose. A lot of us Jews in the local community are very scared. I'll start with just the whole piece.
I can't hear him.
Gary, we lost you again.
It's weird. I cut out midway through. Gary.
Gary, we keep losing you.
Yeah, it started working when you first started talking. Any of the mic settings managed to change?
Yeah, Gary, we can't. Is there any way you could probably log out and then log back in?
Oh, there we go.
Oh, there you are.
No.
Oh, very briefly.
Can you hear me? You take it.
We just heard you a little bit. Can you speak again? No.
Gary, log out and come back in. I'll try to hold the fort. I'm not quite sure where Gary was starting from, but I'll fill you in until we can get him hooked in.
Okay. Yeah, because he just logged off, so he'll log back in. Okay, thank you, Kim.
Sure. Pretty much, as most of you probably know, there's been an incredible rise in anti-Semitic actions, threats, barrage, from both elected officials and from people in the community, especially since October 7th, but this has been going on for the past, I'd say, 5 or 6 years. And there have been some incidents in and around Greenfield and in Western Mass that kind of have made us all very fearful. And we see the rise in white nationalist hate and propaganda coming up from groups that are right over the border in New Hampshire and in Connecticut. And we also have seen the rise of anti-Semitism and white nationalist groups in Massachusetts. We are the 5th or the 6th, depending on what you read, highest state with the highest amount of white nationalist activity in the country. And Gary, if you're back on, I'll pass it back to you or I'll keep going.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
No, we can't.
Oh,
It went back out again.
how does that happen even?
I don't know. You may not have a mic hooked in right, or
You're muted right now.
you're
Try
muted.
muting.
It's not working, Gary. Can you switch to a different computer?
What
You
kind
guys-
of devices are you using?
You can always call in too on your phone.
Yeah, what kind of device is he on?
I'm not sure.
Yeah,
Yeah,
'cause
not
it does
either.
make. You're better off using your phone than a computer.
Yeah, I can.
Okay.
I'll email you the phone.
Well, and Gary has been working closely or trying to work closely with the mayor's office to get the mayor to sign on to the Mayors United Against Anti-Semitism stance of, and it's from, the Mayors United of the country, the U.S. Conference of Mayors, sorry. And she did just sign on, I believe last week, Erin, I think you know the specific date, if I remember. But we wanted to alert you to what that is and what that's really talking about. So some of the statements in it are to support national, state, and local government efforts at eradicating anti-Semitism and preventing extremist indoctrination, supporting and expanding education programs, including Holocaust programs, to counter intolerance and discrimination. And we know it's a very fraught time with what's going on in Israel and Gaza. We know this is hampering efforts against anti-Semitism, but we also want people to know there's two separate issues here. There is anti-Semitism against American Jews for just being Jewish and just being here. And then there's anti-Israel sentiment that a lot of us Jews right now are feeling very anti-Netanyahu. All right, I see Erin put in that the mayor signed this statement a few months ago, but I'm not sure people know about it and have highlighted it. And so part of this, we were thinking that the Human Rights Commission might have a role with the mayor in ensuring that education and training gets out there, that people are aware that the mayor and Greenfield have made a stance about anti-Semitism, that we'd love to see some efforts in the schools to teach about the Holocaust, to teach about anti-Semitism. I don't know of any instances in Greenfield, but in Western Mass and in the Valley, there have been incidents with children reported being bullied, with people denying that the Holocaust took effect, things like that. Of course, we've all noticed that we have to have police detail every time we have an event that has something to do with being Jewish. And we know that there was the one incident on the Common in, I believe it was May, where somebody attacked one of the pro-Israel demonstrators there and actually hit her and knocked her to the ground. I think it's still being under investigation. So I don't know what they definitely found, but nobody spoke out about that piece. So we want to, make sure that people feel comfortable reporting acts and that there is a general awareness in the city. And we kind of want to know where we go from here. And I'm sure Gary could be a little more articulate, but I think that's the gist of it.
Okay, thank you, Kim. Gary, are you able to join? Gary? Yes. Yes, Packy.
Yeah, I have a couple of questions. I totally support resisting anti-Semitism in any way, in every way possible. And I printed out the Mayors Against Anti-Semitism, and I'm curious. I know we have mayors against many things, against nuclear weapons and against war, and and probably for food for children. I've never heard of Mayors United Against Anti-Semitism, and I'm just curious how that outreach has happened, and how many, if lots of mayors have signed this.
Yes, there's actually on the website. I was thinking I should count up how many mayors have signed this. But it's in the hundreds of mayors across the country who have signed on to this. And apparently Greenfield had signed on to this back when it first was distributed. I think it started around 5 years ago. So again, before what's going on in Gaza and Israel. And Greenfield had signed on and then had, with the change in mayors, the signature had lapsed. And so this was an effort to get us back on the books.
Yeah, I was actually part of the Mayors for Peace and getting our new mayor to sign the Mayors for Peace in August. And when I printed it out, it's 2 pages, and the second page starts with support national, state, etc. The only question I have, and I certainly stand with my Jewish siblings, brothers and sisters, and everyone against anti-Semitism. I have just one question, and that is under the first bulleted is we, the undersigned, condemn anti-Semitism, including hatred, prejudice, et cetera, Holocaust deniers, of course, are the Holocaust deniers. You know, we're off the charts with insanity. The Jewish people's right to self-determination, and finally, the Jewish state's right to exist. And I don't see how the Jewish state's right to exist issue is anti-Semitic, or questioning the Israel's right to exist as Israel, as the way it is constructed. And if you could respond to that.
I can, just for my own work, and to let you know, I have just finished a year-long program in Sunderland around anti-Semitism and talking about how do we separate what's going on in the state of Israel, which is a nation at war with people, and the American Jewish Semitic population. I think what's happening now is a lot of anti-Zionist propaganda. Well, I should say pro-Palestinian, anti-Israel is more talking, really a lot of people are talking about the state of Israel does not have a right to exist. It's not just they should not be doing what they're doing. This is horrible how they're treating people, but Israel should not exist. And that is a charter in Iran's constitution, I believe, to wipe Israel off the face of the earth because they see it as colonizers who came in and took over the land. It's a very complicated history, with the Allies after World War II dividing up the space for the Arab, Muslim, Jewish population, and nobody really agreed to, you know, how this was happening, and war started way back then against it. So I think what we really want people to understand is there's 2 different things. One is against the state of Israel for even existing. And then now for committing atrocities, even though it's in self-defense, and people have forgotten that they didn't start this particular event. But also that in the United States, there's a long history of anti-Semitism. And with as I think it was Amanda talking about people getting nervous about their own human rights, it's caught up in the political system of hate and using the Jewish people as a scapegoat for being the ones who are, you know, chasing out white people and, you know, bringing, what is it? What does Trump say? I forget what he says, particularly. I try to forget. But, you know, using Jews as being the bad guys. And they're the ones causing all of this violence and hate. And we're feeling it. We're scared. Our kids are scared. And there have been incidents, and we could easily see this blowing up as the...
I don't want to interrupt you.
No, go ahead.
But I think one of the tasks, I think, or could be one of the tasks of the Human Rights Commission is to have a forum or a series inviting people to do similar to what you did in Sunderland. I went to the last anti-Semitism
Thank you.
thing there, and it was good. You know, I grew up in the 40s, so I hated the Holocaust. I hated Germans. I loved Anne Frank, and you know, so I got it. I think that the whole question of Israel and Jews deserves our looking at and making the difference. A good friend of mine edited a book on a Jewish friend of mine, rescuing Judaism from Zionism. Carolyn Karsha. You know, so you know, the just really appreciating the differences and what it means to be anti what Israel is doing, and anti-Semitic, and
Yes.
and how it's so simple, as our friend who spoke earlier said, you know, just in these polarized times, to you know, to other anyone else is the invitation.
Yes. Yes, and Greenfield has a reputation for supporting diversity and
Yes.
inclusion.
Yes, we
And
do.
we are, you know, strongly advocate that people see anti-Semitism in the same way they see, you know, racism and anti-LGBTQ, etc. And a lot of people have a hard time doing that because it's so convoluted with other
Well,
things.
I think the analogy to our racism and our anti-Semitism is very clear. You know, I think they're quite analogous, and so yeah, so that's something I'm just proposing from this conversation to the Human Rights Commission, that we look at how we can, as a city, address this this issue through education, or I don't know what, but it's out there in the ether, and so I'm putting that out to all of us.
Sounds good.
Thank you,
I see Nate has his
Kathy.
hand up.
Nate?
I do have a few questions. If I don't know, I think this is open for discussion, I believe.
Of course.
So it says here that victims of 60.2% of anti-religions have hate crimes. It says of 2019. I would like to know the data from 2024 to see the difference of what it looked like then to what it looks like now.
Well,
I think that's very important to look at, just to get a view of how it looked like before the war and now that the war is happening.
sure, I can. Oh, okay. I'm sorry. Let me know when.
And my second question was about the educational programs that you guys talked about on page 2. Just give me a rundown if this was to be passed into classrooms, then taught into classrooms. What are the topics maybe? Because there are some topics that are kind of sensitive to a lot of people, and I want to be very mindful about that, because not a lot of people are religion, and so I think we need to look at that as well, to make sure that we are with that. And I just wanted to know what that is, because the 2019 is a great information for me to look at from 2019, but I want to know what it is now, just to get a feel of that and the educational portion of it.
Anne Marie and Gary, if either of you are ready to jump in, but if not, pretty much they're thinking since 2021, even, there's been a 1000% increase in anti-Semitic hate crimes. That includes vandalism, harassment, what was the other one? And assault. And a lot has been vandalism in our area. But again, kids are hearing it and feeling it. And I don't know if what's happened in the last year has all been accounted for. But it's gone up. We are the 5th or 6th most involved state for anti-Semitic activity. And when I look at the map, it's concentrated in California and New England and New York. So the urban centers where there tends to be more of a Jewish population. But then again, the synagogue attacks have been in the Midwest. So
Hello?
I'm sorry.
I believe that's Anne Marie.
Yeah, Anne Marie, did you want to say something?
Yeah, I do, because I believe, in the education and I was part of the programs that happened in Sunderland. I was on that committee with Prim and with Gary, and the feedback that we got from the education that was presented and the discussions that happened for people that had no idea of what was going on was extremely positive. It was extremely, very well attended. And I would say the first program, and it was in also with the Congregational Church, got involved. They wanted to be involved in it and wanted to learn. And I guess there was 58 people at the church at the first one on
64.
September 8th. And the second one that we had at the
74.
Sunderland Library, I think there was 68 people showed up. And it was education, it was history of anti-Semitism in the United States was presented, discussions, questions about from people, what do you think it is? Or what do you know that it is? And I just want to say personally for myself, is that ever since the events in Pittsburgh, I have worn my Star of David prominently. It's small, but I wear it just as a signal because I don't want to be hiding from it. But I've had people, different people here in Greenfield, actually pick it up and say, you're actually wearing that? And so that's the kind of thing that's coming on, because I don't know why this, this is my religion. It has nothing to do with what's, with anything else that's political. And yet that's what's happening. It's being translated. And one of the things that I have seen, I also grew up, Packy, in the 1940s. So, so we're of the same kind of age, is that what I'm seeing happening, and that maybe education would help with, is that an event has happened. And so the event has happened, and it's a political event, what's happened, with what Israel is doing. And then the people of Israel are being, instead of the government, the people of Israel are being blamed for it. I saw the same thing with, we all protested the Vietnam War, but then it became the soldiers that were in the Vietnam War that were victimized. So I'm seeing this trend happening of a political situation or some kind of situation is happening, and it gets put on a group of people. And that I've seen it in the women's movement. All of a sudden, it wasn't the patriarchy, it was men, And so I saw that happening, and I'm seeing this happening again with this. The exact same thing. Something is happening that is crisis that is breaking my heart, is what's happening in the Middle East. But I'm seeing people blamed rather than the political situation. And I think education would make a big difference.
I
So
do have,
Thank you, Anne Marie. Gary,
So
was you
to go
able to,
back
co- Gary, was you able to come in yet?
Mhm.
No? Okay. Yes, Nate, and I'll go after.
Okay, I know there was another question that you wanted answered about education in the school and separating the religion really from the people. And that's what we do. We've talked about the history of anti-Semitism and sharing facts about what's real and what really happened, like the Holocaust actually did happen. And that the place of Jews where they have been stuck between, they're not black, they're not white a lot of times. And people haven't sometimes know how to think about them. And they think about the Jewish population based on falsehoods, myths, old tropes, and people. So we really just want to educate people about the people, not the religion. Nobody's asking anybody else to support their religious beliefs, but just to accept them as people and Americans. And, you know, and yeah.
Okay, thank you. I
Thank you.
I do appreciate all the research that you guys are doing. With the feedback that Anne Marie gave us, I heard 64 people and 74 people went. So I would like to know how many youth for both of those events went.
How many youths?
Yes, how many youth did, I mean, if you guys don't have an accurate number, that's totally fine. Just because if we're gonna do it educational wise in the schools, it would see like how much data, like how many people that are youth from the schools go. And is there a way that we can get them more to go to listen to these talks, right? And so I just want to know how many youth went to both of those events. If you don't have an accurate number, that's totally fine. I'm sure that we can find it. But just giving me a head count or something.
Sure, I will tell you, it wasn't really geared towards the youth as much, but we had, I would say, about 8 young people at the first event, and I think about 8 to 10 at the second event as well. I'm not sure this would be the exact program I would put in the school. I think the school would have a much better idea of what they need and how to organize something. And there's lots of other curriculums out there and stuff, but we'd be glad to help support a program in the schools in any way we can.
Thank you.
Thank you, Nate. Thank you, Kim. I'm gonna jump in here because I have some questions. I'm just gonna follow up what Nate said about young people. And I don't think it's just young people in the school that should be targeted, but as far as a community wide to be part of these discussions, because at the end of the day, the young people are our future and they should be involved in these discussions, and they do have their opinions. And I would definitely like to look into that. Now, as far as that, I would like to know, like when you're talking about like a lot of things that has been going on statewide, national-wide, what is the experience per se as far as anti-Semitism in Greenfield? Because that is what we're focusing on as far as Greenfield. The second thing, I am very open to a panel discussion. As a matter of fact, this is something that I mentioned before when all this started to the last commission, is that I want to put a panel discussion together, but it would be for all sides to be heard. Because I feel like if we just open it to one side, and as a human rights side, all sides supposed to be heard, and we really can't be put in a position that we're showing more favoritism to another side, because basically that's not who we are. So I feel like if I am open to the idea of a panel discussion, but I would like a discussion to be for both sides to be there and basically bring this community together, because everybody is very opinionated, and it's our job to make sure that all these voices are heard. So I would be very supportive of that, you know, and it would be, and you know, we usually do panel discussions at John Zahn, and just like I said, to pull two sides together, sit down and have this conversation. Because at the end of the day, we are still one community. And healing has to start from within. We can't focus on the state. We can't focus on a national level. We have to focus where we go to, our kids go to school and where we work and where we live. So I think that having everybody to sit down and have this conversation would be more fair and open and transparent, because that's the thing, we definitely want to be transparent.
Chris, I appreciate what you just said. I agree that we definitely want to have these conversations, but I'm confused, and Gary just wrote me also, confused as to who are the two sides.
Well, basically what would happen, because you have two sides as far as those who are not anti-Semitic, but are against what's going on in Gaza. Okay. And that's what I mean as far as the two sides, because we have to tread a very careful line here to make sure that we're being fair to everybody. And that's the position, because we cannot be in a position where we're favoring anything, because we have to look out for everybody's rights, and everybody deserves that chance to be heard.
So you have just fallen into the trap that everybody does, is equating what we're talking about, anti-Semitism in America, with Israel and Palestinians. What we've been talking about is really what happens here in America, not taking sides on those, on the international issues, but just looking here. And that's what we've been talking about.
And what I'm talking about is here in Greenfield, because at the end of the day, we're a community. That's what I'm talking about, is where we as a community can sit down and have a discussion, because we're seeing our community being torn apart. And there has to be a discussion where everybody sits down and talks this out. That's what this is about. I'm not talking about on a state level. I'm not talking about on a national level. I'm talking about city, where we live, where our kids go to school, and where we work. I'm talking about Greenfield, Massachusetts, nowhere else. For us to pull our community together and have an open and honest discussion, and everybody sit down and talk. That's the thing. Nobody's not sitting down to talk, and it's very troubling to me, because, I have my own views. Okay. But my major thing is when the two sides cannot sit down and talk, then things tend to explode. And that's not, and that's not making our community any better.
You are so right.
I'm going to interrupt, because one of the ways that can happen, and I have run circles, I am a restorative justice circle keeper. Okay, I've been trained in that, and since the 1990s, and been doing that. I've also taken it out of the court and done it in whatever, and bringing people together to have a discussion where people agree what the ground rules are. And
that's right.
The ground rules is you speak for yourself and you don't point fingers. Right. Well, I'm sure you know all of that kind
and
of
no
thing.
disrespect,
but that instead of a panel,
right?
Having a go around to do that, I think would definitely work. I would be happy to help facilitate something like that. I think I can find a few other keepers, that are around, to do that. Because I'm very, I take very good control of a circle, and I let people know that that's my job.
Absolutely. And I can definitely get that from you. And I mean, that's what it is. It's about
but the conversation community. I like that idea.
Yes.
Absolutely.
Yes.
And how it gets put together, and how it gets, what the format needs to be. But having a panel, to me, is having somebody higher than someone else talking down to people, telling them the facts, rather than having a circle, and then small groups. If it's large, it could be broken up into small groups. So I agree with you on that. I think that would definitely really work.
Yeah, thank you, Anne-Marie. And it would be more so when I say panel, because usually, I don't know if you guys are aware, when we do panels, okay, it would be like, everybody sits together, okay? Everybody sits together, we will have a table, and everybody will sit at the table, and everybody will have their time to say what they want to say. okay? But the point is that everybody would have their voices heard, okay? And everybody would be respected. And that's the
Yes.
point, is as far, like I said, because at the end of the day, my concern is this is Greenfield. I know the state, on a state level, it's crazy. On a national level, it's crazy. But as far as us right here in Greenfield, that is my concern. And if we as neighbors cannot sit down and have a conversation, there's something wrong. Okay, so yes, you know, and like you said, Anne Marie, I think it's great, just like GCC, you know, I'm on a panel in the next couple of weeks, we could have a breakout session, and this could be education on every level, you know, but everybody would be involved, and people that comes in with their own opinions could actually be open and educated into something else. So this is not a negative. This is a way to educate people and bring people together and accept different point of views. That's what this would be. Okay. Now the third thing, as far as like for the education piece, as far in the schools, the fact that we even have to say that in 2024 is a problem. I know when I went to school back way when, we was taught about the Holocaust, and we was also taught about Black slavery. Okay, these two issues are not addressed anymore in the school system. And that's a school system issue, because I remember watching videos about the Holocaust. Okay, I mean, I remember it was part of our agenda. We had to take tests on it, we had to be educated, and we had to understand it. This is a piece where I feel like absolutely, Aaron, absolutely. And that was also a piece as far as like, it's about there was so, people want to say what they want to say as far as everything has been politically correct lately. But during when I was in school, we was able to learn about different cultures and about the history, no matter how bad or how positive it was. And that piece of education has been, I don't want to say disbanded, but I will. And that's why I said the fact that in 2024, we still have to have this conversation about having to educate our young people about things that are part of our history. And what happens is when you deny that history, because that's what's going on, then therefore people could start creating their own ideas. I do believe that the Holocaust needs to be taught in school. I definitely do believe that. I believe that the young people needs to know what happened. I do believe that slavery needs to be taught in school, because that is something that cannot be ignored. I do believe that the things that happen to our tribal brothers and sisters in America needs to be taught in school, because denying something does not make it go away. So I am totally against that. I would like to see a program instilled in the schools that brings back Holocaust stories, that brings back slavery stories, that brings back the truth of what happened to Indians in the beginning when their land was stolen. So I am 1,010% behind that. That's a piece of history that has been lost. And I believe a lot of our young people these days are growing up because they don't understand or was not given the education behind that. I don't know when we got so politically correct trying to whitewash a lot of stuff, but those things need to, yes, Kim, I am 1,000% behind you with that. I think that maybe on a level, maybe that's something that we could probably even make a proposal to go to the school committee and focus on these three issues that needs to be put back into the school system. Young people need to know about this, and like I said, that's just how I feel about it, so it is Jewish history, it's Black history, it's Indian history, it's those three groups of people has been totally ignored. And that part, like I said, I have kids in the school system, and I am 1,000% behind that. I will get emotional behind that, because I believe that we're not doing a good enough job teaching our young people about their true history. So whatever I can do to help as far as that aspect, let me know.
Right, and let us know how we can help you to, put forward your goals of that.
Okay, thank you,
Yeah.
Kim. Sorry, Nate.
I also agree with Empress said her last topic was because it's not taught a lot in school, and I've been trying to fight for a lot of things to be taught more into school. But a lot of things have been pushed back for so-called reasons. So I do want to say something.
I'm sorry, Nate. I don't want to cut you, but I know that you are currently a student in the Greenfield High School system. So what you're saying, just to hear from a student, okay? They're not touching on none of these issues like they should in the school system,
No, they're not.
and that's a problem. Thank you.
And yeah, you're welcome. And I think it's very important to talk about it. And it's, at least for my family, as a Black family, um, we don't, my brothers don't come back like when we were little with an everyday packet about Black history, about a person that they have to study about and research about. And that's never been happened. Last year as a sophomore, I learned about the pilgrims coming into Indian land. So like it's not taught and it should be taught. But I do have a question. I think this is a very important question, or a statement I should say, that I'm willing to do a panel or whatever at the school level to figure out what do students think about it, because it has been thrown around. I mean, I heard about heard a conversation about it today, and to see about our students willing to support you guys with your meetings and support you guys with topics as a youth, because I feel like we lean more in towards the adult section, but really like how our community is built up is by youth, right? Everything youth should be involved in. And so I think that maybe looking I mean, like I said, I do a lot of various things, but I'm willing to set time to be like, hey, come after school and talk about this. And see what students really think about it, because it is a problem that's going on. It is a issue that is happening in our world, and we should learn about it. And my second question is really about I guess it would be the going back to the educational spot. Is I feel like if we're going to do this in the school system, that it shouldn't be teachers that don't know about it. It should be people know about the topic, that know about anti-Semitism, and that feel comfortable teaching in front of a classroom about it. And so I would see maybe Empress or the other people in the commission can talk to the superintendent to see that if you guys could come in and speak and talk, have a lesson about it, because it's very important that we have one. And I'm willing to talk to history teachers in the high school, history teachers at the middle school, even the elementary school if possible, to get an idea of about could a guest speaker come and speak about this? Because there is guest speakers do come and speak about various other topics. So why can't we have somebody speak about this specific topic? And so I don't see why not. That is a problem. And I would see at least for you guys, and see if you guys are open for that, and see if I have your permission to talk to various other people to see if we could go forward with that.
I think it's great to have your voice here. Thank you.
Let me just ask a couple of questions and make a practical suggestion. I'm curious about. I love the idea of you talking to the history teachers from elementary school up, and how they perceive. They talk about these non-mainstream issues, from the natives to the slavery to anti-Semitism to all the othering, including, because I think we don't have a lot of Asians in Greenfield, but certainly there has been so much discrimination against Asians, in this culture. I love that idea, but just to very practically, Empress, can we implement, having Anne Marie sort of spearhead conversations. I love the idea of community conversations about anti-Semitism. And I agree with you. I always prefer conversations to panels or the experts telling us. So can we move forward with that?
Let me see, because with Kim and Anne-Marie, and I know we can't hear from Gary, so but I think that Gary would probably be open to some kind of a community discussion, maybe.
I think so.
As far as a vote, we can't put through a vote because we lost Kathleen, but it's definitely something that we could put on for November. So we could definitely vote on this because, like I said, we lost 3 for today, but they'll be in attendance for November. And we could definitely put forward a motion to start a discussion. Now, I'm not going to make any promises because December, I don't want to say anything for December because December, we're totally caught up with our Human Rights Commission award ceremony in December, but maybe in early 2025, we could definitely put something together. So I don't want to overwhelm anybody, but that is like the focus just of the year. But definitely this is something that that I definitely support as far as having a community discussion. Like I said, we could definitely put forward a vote for November.
Well, I will take that to heart because if it's something's going to be planned, we're going to need time to plan it. So being put off until January or February, I think is okay with me.
Okay. All right. Yeah. So
we do have a FCAT just videotaped our last program in Sunderland. So if you're interested, I could send you a link so you could just get a sense of what we've been talking about. Just so you know where we're coming from, but it may or may not be what you want, but I just wanted to give you a sense of this is where we're approaching it from, so you know where we're coming from for that. So I'll send it. Empress, should I send it to you?
Yeah, send it to me and I can send it out to the body. That's fine. Thank you, Kim.
Yeah, thank you. Do we have your email or where would I send it?
Yes, I believe that Gary CC'd me on you and Anne-Marie, so just send it right back to reply all and I'll get it and I'll send it out to the body.
Okay, sure.
Does anybody else have any more discussion? This was a positive discussion and I definitely believe, as long as we focus on Greenfield and working within our community, this is definitely a step forward. I'm kind of like, let's work on our own fish tank before we try to take on the ocean.
Definitely. And thank you guys for letting us come into your fish tank to talk about this tonight. We really appreciate you listening and helping be part of moving this forward. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. And,
Thank you.
Like I said, definitely. And definitely what I can do, Kim, and I'm sorry we couldn't hear from you today, Gary, but going forward, another thing that I could put through for the commission is as far as us trying to get on the agenda for a school committee to address the education portion as far as Native slavery and the history of Holocaust and fight for that to be part of the school curriculum in Greenfield schools, because I feel like that is important and we're definitely missing out on that. And a lot of our young people are missing out on it. Like I said, to back that up, we have a high school student that could back that up because it's not being taught. So, and like I said, it's great because it's not one, but we cover a whole basis, a whole topic. So this is great. And we're definitely moving in the right direction. Anybody else? Okay, awesome. Well, thank you so much, Kim, Anne-Marie, and Gary, that we never got to hear from. But
no, he has been listening and has been sending me quick texts to say, okay, you guys got it.
Okay, all right. And that's fine. Gary knows my email address, so I'm sure he's gonna email me tomorrow. So that's fine.
You know it.
Yes, I'll be waiting for your email, Gary, okay? All right, so now we're gonna move on to C. We have the annual HRC awards for December 10th, 2024. I believe we moved that date up to the weekend, correct, Matt?
We had it, the day you had me tentatively put a hold for is Monday, December 9th, because I think, I forget who, but someone was saying that they think attendance might be better on a weekday night rather than a weekend, especially during the holidays when people are shopping and all that kind of stuff.
So the date is the 9th that we're gonna do it for, the
Yeah,
Monday?
yep.
Okay. All right, cool. All right, so a couple things under that is, it is now October 15th. We need to start getting these nomination forms out. We need to start working on social media, start sending out the flyers so people know that they can start submitting names. I believe was it Survey Monkey that you used last year, Matt?
I used Google Forms. So in preparation for this, I actually did, I'm gonna share my screen real quick. I actually did make a temp form. Where is it? All right, here. All right, you can probably see my screen now. This is the form I made similar to last year.
Okay, there it is. Okay.
Oh, there we go. I followed basically the same format. The only criteria we had last year, the person must be a Greenfield resident. They must be 18 or older, and they represent the values of the Human Rights Commission outside of their work setting. So the form's pretty simple. It's just, who you'd like to nominate, and then asking them to explain in detail, because we always like to hear the stories of why these people are making a great impact in the community. So that's the form I made. I basically just kind of copied the format we used last year. And then whenever the commission is comfortable to announce things, I did draft up a press release, just with the form that I would send to the local news outlets and things like that to kind of help publicize the ceremony, and then the award process. And then also I can work on some social media graphics and things of that nature. But I just wanted to get kind of a head start on things. I know we would probably like to open up the nomination period pretty soon so we can get a robust field of nominees. But one thing I would like to propose is I think it could be nice if we keep it as simple as the only two rules are being a Greenfield resident and then someone who represents the HRC outside of a work setting, because as we've seen with Quinn and with Nate, we have so many great young people in our community who are really making a difference. And I think opening it up to them as well, I think they deserve, the chance to be recognized for the work they do.
I like that. I like that idea. I have no issue with that. And because it was already voted on for last year, how the questions would be, we could just keep it as is.
I do have just a quick question. It does say 18 and older, and I just wanted to make it clarified. Is it for the members on here, or is it for the other people, other community members?
It was originally intended for the people who are being nominated, but we're gonna just get rid of that entirely. So maybe we could do 12 or older. Maybe that's a better age. Or
I would say 15. I think 12
15
is
or older. Okay, I like that.
Well,
That's a good number.
15 is a good number, yeah.
Yeah, 15 is good. Okay. And when you have the flyers, I mean, I don't mind putting it in the school.
Yeah.
Because that's many places that people see it and they can write their name or write other people's names on it. And then I can grab it and give it to you guys. So
Perfect. And I know what I try to do with a lot of the things that have a Google form is have a flyer with the QR code on it too. So a lot of people can just scan it real quick with their phone and vote on the form. But yeah, last year I remember, since we were kind of bringing this back, I remember we didn't even ask for nominees until probably mid-November.
That is correct.
And we still got 8 to 10 submissions, which was pretty good for our first year back. So I think if we can publish this stuff, I mean, I would want to make sure everyone on the commission's happy with it, so I can email it out to everyone and see if anyone has any adjustments. But publish probably towards end of next week, end of this week, early next week, I think would be really good, because we'd have a solid, month and a half window to solicit nominations. And then I don't know what you guys want to do for the vote. I know last year, you had me create a Google form where you just, everyone anonymously filled out the form with their choice for the winner. That approach can work again, or whatever works best for the commission.
And I just do have one more thing, sorry.
Yeah, no problem.
At least for the school aspect, I think having the form printed out in paper, just because we are not allowed to use our phones during the school day, so they wouldn't be able to scan the QR code.
Gotcha.
So I think maybe even printing it out and then like giving me the form, I can
Yeah.
also make copies of multiple other ones and put it around school. Or just make like a whatever fits in your bubble, but as long as it's not with QRs, because we just can't use our phones during class.
Perfect, and I really appreciate you bringing that up because that's a great thing to know in considering that. So like probably what I would do for the school piece is maybe just print up like a flyer and then like maybe like 20 or 30 of the forms that people can just sign, and then we can have a little box there where people can put their forms in.
And I like this idea because Nate, because there's so many teachers who contribute to young people and participate. So I feel like this is going to be another avenue to bring more people into this. So
yeah,
that's definitely a good thing. So like you said, Matt, so you're going to send an email just to see if anybody has any issues with it. So hopefully by November 1st, the flyer and the nomination forms and everything will be ready to launch, correct?
Yeah, I think even earlier than that. I think next week sometime would be great. Because I'll work on the social graphics component of it tomorrow and through the rest of this week. But I should send an email out probably by like Thursday with all the materials for everyone to review. And if anyone has any comments or suggestions, I'm happy to incorporate them in whatever the final pieces that we put together out. But I think the longer the window, the better it is for this process, because there's more of a chance for people to discover it and nominate those people here in Greenfield that are really making a great difference day in and day out.
Okay, awesome. Thank you, Matt. Thank you, Nate.
No problem.
Okay, I know, I can't believe we're really going to 7:30. Okay, but we're almost done. So other community events and feedback. So far there was Green River Cleanup. That was phenomenal. It's just the first year I ever participated. It was just great to see so many community members outside together, picking up trash. And I was educated a lot as far as what's going on in certain encampment areas. So it was a very educational and humbling experience at the same time. And I would really encourage a lot more commissioners to go out for next year. And now that it's on my radar, I'm not gonna let you forget about it. The next thing this past weekend, me, Kathleen and Robin participated in Vintage Days at the Mohawk Mall. It was very nice. I was able to see some cool cars, and I posted some cars on my Facebook page, but it was really nice, because you see all those vintage cars like from the old movies, and they're there, and a lot of people have fun, it was really cool. So, and anybody that knows me knows I like to be involved in certain community events. So yeah, so that was really nice. And last but not least, as far as this, I was able to actually print out the template copies of our brochure that Jason put together. And I also got to do some street outreach, walking down Main Street Saturday, meeting people, shaking people's hands, introducing myself to people and who we are. And yeah, and I had a lot of feedback. I know a lot of people are interested in joining the HRC now, because a lot of people, believe it or not, even know that we even had a Human Rights Commission here in Greenfield. That was like the biggest takeaway that I took from. So it definitely shows we need to do a lot more work in our community, but I got a sense of really contributing to our community by doing that foot outreach. So that's something, Nate, because I know you're part of the outreach and educational support, and maybe me, you, and Kathleen and some other commissioners could probably put something together when we print off the physical brochures to start doing these street outreaches on the weekend because it's really busy on the weekends, and just go out and meet people, shake people's hands, and just pass out the brochures so that people know who we are and that we're here. I think this, we have a new tool at our disposal that is very powerful. So I actually seen it in action this Saturday, so that's why I'm saying it. Next but not least, friendly reminder, if you haven't placed your order yet for your HRC shirt, please do so during the October 15th meeting. So far, I have Nate, I have Robin, and I have Jason. Packy, I need your shirt size.
Probably medium.
Okay.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Okay, so, and last but not least, other information that I would like to be considered with the commission, and in my opinion, this is very important. We have a very tough election coming up next month. And like I said, once again, I'm not a sides person, I'm a community person. Okay, and that's where I will always instill my energy and put my energy into as far as community. Some questions I want to pose to the body as far as how are we going to support the community after election day? What will be our position? I'm concerned about the divide in our city, and I'm looking for ways we can positively assist the community after the results in a non-political, bipartisan, and positive way. Secondly, I know we already talked about one panel discussion, but maybe have us pull in the community together to have some kind of communication after said results are released to get people together to talk. And also partnering with organizations to speak on a wider platform. This could be bringing in business owners, police, whoever, just to have more of a citywide conversation so that everybody can sit down and talk about what's our next step. And like I said, once again, anybody that knows me knows I love positivity, and that's what I promote. And I'm really concerned about the after effect and how it will affect our city, no matter who wins or loses. So that's just something that I definitely wanted to put out there so we can start thinking about what is the next step in our community. And I feel that that's something of major importance that we need to start preparing ourselves for from now. Yes, Nate?
I do think that we had Amanda Brown come and talk about her thing that she's doing on Saturday. I don't see why not we could do something similar to that after the election, just to get communities' point of views about it, to see about what they wanted and stuff like that. And the community panel discussion, I know me and you are going to be at a What is Democracy panel this Thursday, and we'll be hearing from a bunch of people there. But I think doing that is a good idea. I just have concerns about a lot of people's input that I can get people's time. But I do have to head out. I have to go into another.
Nate, hold on, we lost you. You want to try again, Nate?
You're muted.
I think his video turned off. He might be like resetting his Zoom or something. I know our meeting in November is the Monday after too, so that could be a good topic to put on for the meeting.
Yes. But Kathleen sent me a message and she said that our meeting scheduled for Monday next month.
Oh, it's Veterans Day?
Yes. So we might have to move it till Tuesday again.
Okay. If you want, another thing I'll do too is I'll look at the calendar and see if there's any days. I know that the nights can often get tight. But okay, there's any days that I could also book the meeting room just so we can make sure it's hybrid too. So I'll look at the calendar when I get to the office tomorrow.
Okay, awesome. So I just want to thank everybody. I know we had a lot of technical issues today, but we made it through. We had a very positive meeting. Thank you so much, Aaron, for being here, and Megan for being here. And this is great, you know. I know it's small-minded for me to think that, you know, we could all one day as a community be able to sit down and have a positive conversation like this, you know, but it's something to work for. And I believe in our community, and I believe in our little city of Greenfield. So on that note, I'm going to make a motion to adjourn. Is there a second?
Second,
All those who approve, say aye.
aye.
Aye. All right, everybody, have a great night. Thank you.
Thank
You
you.
too.